Hello guys, welcome back to another video in our series of building RAG graph applications from scratch. So today is actually the last video in our series of building a RAG graph from scratch. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and build a Streamlit application that's going to be consuming the back-end application that we built in the last video. So let's get to it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, let's take a look at the project overview and know where we are so far. So the first thing we did was building a simple manual pipeline. We went to building an ETL pipeline with Python, learning the basics of LangChain, building the natural language, converting natural language to Cypher. We build basically different agents, and in the last video we built FastAPI backend, okay, and then we dockerize it using Docker. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and build a Streamlit application that's going to be consuming this backend application, and then that will be the end of the video. Okay, so we're also going to post another video at the end, just a simple video showing everything that you have done so far. Okay, so okay, let's get into it. Just skip this part for now. Let's get into it. So you're going to go straight to the table of content. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to look at the setting up the directory, installing the libraries and packages, creating our app utils functions, creating the Streamlit application, and then you're going to go ahead and containerize this whole Streamlit application along with our FastAPI application, and then that will be the end of the video. So let's get to it. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do is finally basically setting up the directory structure. So to set up the directory structure, I have this code right here, and you're going to go ahead and run this code. So just make sure that you're in a terminal, and I'm just going to do an ls to know where we are. I'm going to change my directory into chatbots. Once I'm in here, I'm going to go into services. Okay, so services, and I'm going to go into services, and then version 1. Once I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and create it right here. Okay, so let me just make sure that I'm creating it in the right place. So I have an article for this as well, so the article can help you and lead you through lead you through everything that you want to know, if you prefer reading or if you have any other issues. Okay, so you can always find this article which is just accompanying the video as well. Okay, so you can find me at Prince Cramper on Medium. So if I go away, you just find me Prince Cramper on Medium, just here Prince Cramper, and you can find me on Medium as well. So once you're inside of this directory, let's run these commands to create these specific files. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go ahead and run this command right here. So we run this command to create the Streamlit Streamlit underscore app directory. So once we have created that directory, we're going to go ahead and navigate inside of that directory, and then you're going to go ahead and create 3 different files. So we're going to create underscore init, requirement.txt file, config.py file, utils.py file, and then app.py file. Okay, so let me just go ahead and create that. So I'm going to change directory into my Streamlit app, and I'm going to go ahead and simply run this command. So if I do an ls, you can see we have the files there. So the app, we have the main app, configure some utils, and then this is just making this a Python package. Requirement to have all our requirement.txt, our requirement that we need for our app, and then finally we're going to go ahead and have your utils. Okay, so I'm having a different requirement.txt file from the one that we have up here, because I want to containerize this application. Okay, and I'll show you just in a minute while I have that set up. So once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and install our libraries and packages. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go ahead and simply copy these libraries and packages. So copy them, and this is just, you can pause the video and just copy this out, or you can actually find this as well on my article as well. So I'm going to copy that and go into my open up the Streamlit application, and then go into the requirement.txt file, and I'm going to go ahead and paste in there. Okay, that's all I need. I need Streamlit, request, and python.env to read my environment variables. Okay, so once we have that done, you're going to go ahead into the config file, and I'm going to go ahead and simply paste the following code instead of my config file. Okay, so this is just reading a bunch of requirements. Okay, so that's basically what it does, just setting the app title, the description, and all that. It's just a simple config file. Okay, so it sets up the backend URL, it sets up the app title, so this application title goes in here for the Streamlit application, and then the app description also goes in here for the Streamlit application. Okay, so once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into utils.py, and I'm going to go ahead and update it the following. So utils.py has a bunch of util function that's going to help us to communicate with our backend application. So basically, it's just going to be making post requests and different basically HTTP requests to the backend in order to fetch information. That's what basically this does. So just pulls the backend URL, and then basically calls the chat endpoint and begins to send information back and forth. That's basically what this util function does. So it's not much of a code, so you can just call it just basically a request in Python, so it's nothing complicated. Okay, and then we have some bunch of error handling. So we're just sending a post request to this endpoint, and then finally passing the query as our message, and then you have a timeout, and then basically returning the data back. And these are just some exception handlers. Okay, so once I have those done, I'm also going to go ahead and we can go ahead and building the app itself. So creating the Streamlit app itself is actually very simple. Okay, it's not very simple, but this video is not about basics of Streamlit, so I'm not going to go into depth about the basics of Streamlit. I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy and paste the code. Okay, so this video is not about the basics of Streamlit, so I have this assumption that you know the basics of Streamlit. If you don't, it's still fine. You can always learn the basics of Streamlit. It's actually extremely simple to do. So I just created a simple Streamlit UI that you're going to be using right here, and this UI is simply calling using the util functions to call the backend API and then building the communication pipeline that way. So that's basically what the Streamlit application does, and the code for this is going to be available in the GitHub repository in the link below, or you can also actually find it on my blog post on Medium. Okay, so once we have that done, now we're going to go ahead and containerize our application. So to containerize the application, we're just going to go ahead, copy this code right here that we have, and you're going to go into our CI/CD pipeline Docker and then paste it in, then create a file called streamlit.docker file, and then have this code in there. So I'm going to go in here, create a new file in here. I'm going to call it streamlit.docker file, and then just simply paste in the code in there. So once I have in the code in there, it's just going to run the Streamlit application. Just Streamlit run and then app.py, which is a Python file that we have, which consists of the Streamlit application itself. So once we have that done, now we can actually run the application. So to run the application, just go ahead and we need to update our Docker compose file. So copy this and then find your Docker compose file, and then simply update the Docker compose file to have the following code. So I'm going to paste the following in there and make sure that I save that. So we just added the Streamlit, which is running the Streamlit Docker file, which is just created right here, is running it, and then the container name is called Streamlit app, is running on port 8501. 8501. So it's mapping 8501 to 8501 on the host machine. Okay, so this is just basically what's, and it's also the environment variable, which is FastAPI, which is the name of our FastAPI container, running at port 8000, because we're running FastAPI at port 8000. So that's basically what we need to do. And then once we have that done, we can go ahead and do a Docker compose app. So I'm going a bit too fast because we've already done most of this, so I'm just going, it's just repetition, right? So you have to add the build flag in here just to build this one more time. So just give this a bit of time, and once it's done, we should be able to access our application. So just give this a bit of time for it to install all the dependencies, all the needed requirements, and then from there we can go ahead and access the Streamlit application within our browser. So while that's installing, one thing I have noticed is my Neo4j instance has been stopped. So if you're using the free tier, once in a while it stops your instance from running. So you have to make sure, if you run an application and you're having an issue whereby your application cannot connect to the Neo4j Neo4j free instance, just go into your Neo4j dashboard and make sure that you click on resume. Okay, and that's going to take a bit of time, so it can take up to like 20 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, so it just depends, right? So just click on the resume button there, which is the play button. You'll see it up here. Just click on that, and then you have to wait for this to turn into running, for this status to change into running. So once the status changes into running, then you can your application can access this graph database. So for now, we just have to wait until it's back up running. This time, it's actually good because the installation is also going on. So hopefully these two things get done at the same time, hopefully. Okay, so some things can take really long. Okay, just be patient, and let's wait for this to get done, and I'll be back recording. Yes, so you can see we have our application, basically our Neo4j free instance now running. So you can see it's now running up here. So once I have that running, I'm going to go ahead and or copy this link, and then copy it, and I'm going to go ahead and open it in my browser. So I'm going to go ahead and open another window, paste it in here, and then you can get access to the Streamlit application. Yeah. So the Streamlit application is running, and this is how it looks like. So let's ask the question. So I'm going to ask it, tell me more about the vice president. So I'm going to ask you to tell me more about the vice president, and this is going to run. I'm going to make a couple of calls to our Neo4j instance, basically get the information back to us. So you can see our new basically reply, and you flatter the vice president of sales, received a bachelor's in degree, has a PhD, and you can see the context that was used to answer that question. And you can go ahead and click show context, and it go ahead and shows you the context right there. So basically, that's how the application works, and you can ask it different questions, and it should respond to you with accurate answers. Okay. So one thing I also did is I also took it a bit further and then added some more descriptions right here. And also I'm going to go ahead and improve on the response format, because you're using a tool. So sometimes the response format can be really different. So one thing you can do in here, which you can do, is use a tool and then parse this into JSON and then get the accurate response. Because sometimes whenever you're trying to pass these responses by using depending on the AI, sometimes it makes errors in try to return to you the right format of the responses. So there are different techniques and ways around that. And in my previous video, I've showed you how to convert the different outputs into well formatted format. So I'm going to do that as well, and I'm going to push that code to GitHub as well, so that you guys can have access to it. So in case you're getting any error, you can go ahead and figure out a way to how to solve that error. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and simply post the code to GitHub. Okay, yeah, so that's basically it for now. Again, let's go. Once we have this running, let the app refresh itself. So I'm going to go ahead and simply stop the application, clear the terminal, and let's try to run something. So I'm going to do docker compose app, and let me run that again. So once it's running, I can go ahead and try to ask it a question again. So once it's running again, let's go ask a question. Let's ask it, what is the address of this guy right here? So I'm going to go ahead and simply copy this, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here. Let me not forget the R. So I'm going to go ahead simply, it's going to make a request to the back end and then try to get us the answer to the specific question that we have first asked. So you can see it turns to us the answer to the specific question. So it turns to us the place where this vice president basically stays. And that's basically, you can also ask it different questions, and different try different things out. Okay, so one of the things that you might face is that, let me try to ask it one of these questions. So say, what is the most used shipper in Germany? So I'm going to ask the question, what's the most used shipper in Germany? So I now it has to use the tool in order to get me an answer, and then you get this specific and response back. It says a formatting error, and then you get this response back. So I'm going to go ahead and actually build a solution for this, which is basically dealing with formatting of the outputs. And I'm going to go ahead and post this code to GitHub. Once it's ready, you can find the code up there. So this is one error that you might get sometimes. The AI is able to convert the output properly into JSON. Sometimes it fails, right? So I'm going to show you a way around this, and I'm going to put that in GitHub. Okay, so if I have time, I'll make another video on this, showing you exactly how to solve this error. Okay, so for today's video, I just want to go ahead and simply end it on this note. And in the next video, I'll show you, if I have time again, I'll make another video showing you basically how to solve that error. Again, if I don't make the video on time, you can always go back to the LangChain official documentation and learn how to convert the outputs of agents into different formats like JSON, which will get rid of this error. Okay, so I'll get back, I'll make a video on that, and I'll post a video. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this content, or if you want to connect with it more, you can connect with me on Medium at Prince Crampa, where I write articles about this video. You can follow me on YouTube at Code with Prince, hopefully where you're watching this video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Prince_Crampa, and on LinkedIn you can follow me at Prince Crampa. So if you have any project ideas, any questions about the whole series, feel free to reach out with me. If you want us to build anything together, feel free to reach out with me to me on LinkedIn. I'm much faster to reply to you on LinkedIn, and you can get me on LinkedIn at Prince Crampa. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the content, you want to support the channel, the easiest way is just by liking this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that this video can reach more and more people with a similar interest, right? So Yeah, that's basically it. And if you want to support me further, you can buy me coffee. The links is in the description of the video below. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Keep safe.